Alrighty, and we should be back for real this time. Gameplay is being captured. Internet has been fixed. Luckily, we have not missed too much. I believe it was UAlbany that got the feats of strength, but no other feats have been claimed yet. Ooh, nice stun onto the Caitlyn. That's going to immediately result in a kill for the Ashe. This bot lane has been as bloody as you'd expect from a Caitlyn Karma lane into an Ashe. Both of those characters pretty lane dominant. 3 kills onto the Caitlyn and 2 kills onto Ashe, so already pretty accelerated, both of them. Other than that, though, the big difference has been the Wukong in this jungle. Currently 3-0-1, already has that full Triforce. This monkey is going to be hitting extremely hard. So despite the fact that it is Ithaca with the lead in the objectives, hopefully the Wukong will be able to leverage this item lead into some sort of neutral soon. Both junglers are currently looking around the Rift Herald. Big hook onto the Karma. She does immediately pop the shield. The Embezzle does land onto the Aatrox. He's currently in the World Under right now, but he's just CC'd for so long. He hasn't been able to get any of his spells off. Now that he has, it's been too little, too late, and the Mbessa is going to take the kill there. 2-0. Yeah, the Mbessa, really good matchup into this Aatrox right now. And we even have the catch onto the Swain. He's been trying to get back to his team, but now that the cavalry has arrived, it is 3 versus 2. Another kill onto the Mbessa, the shutdown onto the Wukong, and that's going to mean Herald and half of the feet for Ithaca. So it's going to be whoever can get this first tower will claim the feet, the boots upgrades for their team. Big series of plays coming out of Ithaca, though. Gold leads 1,000 in their favor. So, yeah, a lot of the gold on this Ambessa. That's going to be really difficult for UAlbany to play around this top side. I'd like to see the Wukong maybe try and get a little more aggro along this bot side, as the Ashe is fairly strong and does have good gank setup with that crystalline arrow. In terms of team fight, Ambessa is just going to be looking to dive onto this Ashe and Taliyah backline. Taliyah does have some tools to kind of, kite her around the shove, the unraveled earth, making it difficult for the Ambessa to get all the value out of her mobility. But Ashe can be a bit of a sitting duck to these more mobile bruiser top laners. We'll have to see how Katsun navigates these team fights in the later stages. Not a huge lead, not insurmountable whatsoever. So there's still hope for the UAlbany squad. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a quiet down. There's no neutrals on the map, so not any real reason to be fighting over anything other than just, lane prio, trying to get as much damage onto these turrets as you can. And this Mbessa, despite her gold lead, it's really difficult in this melee versus melee top side, especially with Aatrox, who has such good punish, to get any meaningful damage on that tower, even with the half an item lead that she has been able to accumulate. We do see her just continuing to bully this Aatrox. Aatrox does have some healing, but Mbessa is just so good at these short trades. So much mobility, so much damage. Okay, does take a tower shot, but the Eclipse Shield is going to eat that, so no harm, no foul. Do see both teams kind of hovering around this bot side river, prepping some vision for this dragon that might spawn in a few minutes. It seems Weaver's Wall going to be used, but it's actually cutting off his own team. Wukong is currently in there. Big Crystalline Ash Arrow and combo on to the Karma, and that's so much damage going on to the Ithaca bot lane. And once again, just Mbessa trying to get as much damage onto this Aatrox as you can, and yet, just like that, UAlbany does have the numbers advantage for this dragon fight, but they're looking a little scared. Half health on this Taliyah makes it a little awkward. Zen does still have his ultimate, so he can dive in there and soak up a lot of pressure. It's going to be big for UAlbany if they can just zone Zen away from this dragon. They're trying to throw everything they can. There's the Zen Zhao ult, pairing up with a Swain ult. Big pullback onto the Ashe. She's so low, but she does manage to survive. But they are going to claim the jungler and the dragon. Disaster for UAlbany, putting Ithaca onto Soul Point, and it's still going. They do manage to pick up the Ashe and the Taliyah on top of it. That's a clean 3-0 team fight with the neutral. And it's probably going to be this first dragon, or first tower as well, with the Herald being spawned. That should be 2 out of the 3 feats for Ithaca, and boots upgrade acquired. Yeah, this Wukong is so strong, but unfortunately he has not really started building any sort of tankiness yet, so he does kind of just pop to the pressure of this Collector Caitlyn. Big item power spike there. She hasn't quite finished the IE, so she's in a little bit of a slump now. You know, that 1 item power spike is huge for her, but she's really looking to get like those 3 items online so that her headshots really start chunking people. And you just see this Aatrox constantly bully, constantly below half HP, not really able to get even close to these range creeps, just has to watch them die. Decides to go for a trade onto the Ambessa, but misses the hit sweet spot on the Q, so it's not going to amount to anything extra. We do see both bot lanes rotating into this mid lane now that the first turret has been taken, just getting that short lane for the AD carries, making sure that they can farm up without any fear of really getting ganked. And Ambessa is finally probably going to take this top lane tower, finally forces the Aatrox off after chunking him down relentlessly. Another team fight for this Otacon. Once again, it's UAlbany, first to move here, first to start up the neutral. And this time, Ithaca does not really have anyone in the realm to respond. Swain getting so much damage on the Wukong, gonna force him to flash away, and that is a kill onto the jungler. Talia is still hitting the Otacon. This is gonna be very, very close. Okay, the top lane, the Aatrox does manage to secure the neutral objective. That is going to be big, as that is a permanent buff, but it is going to be another 3-0 fight for Ithaca, and this gold lead has just suddenly ballooned into almost 6,000 in the matter of a couple minutes. Yeah, I do like the aggression from UAlbany, but there seems to be some miscommunication in terms of like when they are peeling off the objectives. It seemed like some people there wanted to go into the Swain, just try and blow it up, and some people were just still focusing the Otacon, and that split focus gave the Swain enough opportunity to pop his ult, flash away, get so much damage onto UAlbany's jungler, and that meant that the fight just got more awkward from there. Yeah, and Ithaca was able to take the mid lane and top lane tower, so all outer towers taken for Ithaca. Going to be able to push in a lot of vision into the Albany jungle here. We do see Zhu doing his best, trying to clear that vision where he can, keep that his jungle as dark as possible, so this Wukong is able to farm his camps wherever he can. Yeah, UAlbany does have some good engage options with the Wukong, with that crystalline arrow from the Ashe, but it does kind of rely on Beam from Fog of War. Ashe arrow is so much easier to hit if you can shoot it from these weird angles that no one is expecting. And then the Wukong obviously just trying to close as much distance as he can before Ithaca gets any vision of him, so that he can save his cooldowns for the potential fight. Yeah, good team play coming out of Ithaca, just constantly, you know, not overextending. Karma looking to try and push in when her lanes are pushing, trying to get this vision down. They do spot the Wukong, so it's going to be a Q for Ambessa. Just back on up a little bit, play a little safer. Yeah, and Talia does try and get some damage onto the Ambessa, but she is so mobile, and with that Eclipse, she is so tanky in those short trades. Yeah, look at this 3-man squad from Ithaca, just always supporting each other, allowing this Karma to push in whenever she wants. Does land the hook onto Ambessa, but that's not really the target you want to be going on right now, especially when you know that there are other Ithaca members in the area. So good discipline from UAlbany, doesn't blow any of the air ultimates, trying to get that kill there. And we do have pings onto this dragon. This is going to be a huge fight here. If Ithaca can get this soul, as they are on soul point with this Chemtech dragon, it's going to be a huge advantage for them going forward. Chemtech, not really as useful in all characters, but when you have so many like bruisery style champions like the Zinzao, like the Ambessa, even like the Swain, more of an AP bruiser himself, any sort of damage reduction is going to be so helpful to them as they get low, just giving them that extra little time to get what damage they can off, maybe even heal it up. Will be Ithaca starting it off. The dragon is at half HP, but all 5 members of all teams are here. It's going to be on the Croissant arrow. Does land onto the Xin Zhao, but there's just no follow-up available. That is going to be the go-ahead for the Ambessa, who dives onto the backline, getting so much damage onto the Talia, and is just not dying. Even Flashed Away will eventually burn down, but the damage has been done. There are 3 dead on UAlbany, including the jungler. So, Ithaca is just going to peel on back, get this free soul, and just continue their snowball. 8,000 gold lead, 8,500 gold lead, it seems, for Ithaca here. And the Baron will be spawning in just a few seconds. They look like they're just running straight at it. Going to be pushing in one last mid wave on the way. Still 14 seconds left on this Wukong, and there is so much neutral objective damage on this Ithaca side that they probably are going to be able to finish this before the Wukong can really even get back out onto the map. Blast Cone used, trying to deny any sort of entry from UAlbany. Gonna put a control ward in the pit, but that hook, not gonna really have any sort of follow-up. He's the only one there. Yeah, 2k on the Baron, and it's just gonna be an easy smite. Yeah, Wukong couldn't even get out to his Raptors before that Baron is done, so that is going to be 5 Baron buffs and a Dragon Soul in short order for Ithaca. This is going to be a massive power play for them. How are they going to utilize this advantage? Yeah, and we see Caitlyn has finished her 3rd item, Last Whisper acquired, so these headshots are going to be chunking. Not a lot of armor on UAlbany yet, outside of the, a little bit from the support item and from their plated steel caps. So it's going to be dealing so much damage to these squishy members. And yeah, it's going to be a tall task just for UAlbany to clear these waves. Baroned up minions is just so annoying for so many UAlbany members. It's really just Talia who's going to have any sort of, safe wave clear, as you see the Aatrox just desperately trying to get his Qs onto those waves, chunk them out as much as they can before they get into the tower. Talia is going to be engaged on by this Swain. He already has the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, and there's just absolutely nothing Talia can do. She's going to go down. That's the 6th death for her this time. She's been having a rough game. Yeah, once this Swain has that Rylai's, there's just so little these more immobile backline of UAlbany can do once he gets on top of them. Okay, World Ender going to be popped. Redemption is going to heal up the Ambessa, so it's just kind of going to be a trade of cooldowns. Item for ultimate. Going to dive right back in. Now that World Ender's gone, though, he is so much squishy, and he's going to be going down underneath his inner tower. And that's going to be 1 inhibitor, an inner tower, an inhib tower, and probably this might just be triple inhib right here. And there's no reason for Ithaca to, let off the gas here. They might be looking for even Nexus towers, if not the game itself. 25 seconds still on this Aatrox, so UAlbany will be playing 4 versus 5 for the next little bit. And they are down so much gold that even with, you would think that with 5v5, it wouldn't even matter. Oh, Crystalline Arrow is going to land into the Karma. Good Zonya's Hourglass out of the Swain. Did get hit by that Thresh Hook, but was able to immune the rest of the follow-up. And Bessa diving onto the Ashe right there. She has absolutely no way of getting away from her, so she is going to go down. Talia follows in short order, and there goes the Nexus. Wow. When we joined this game, it was still fairly close, but just a few unfortunate team fights from the side of UAlbany around those neutral objectives does mean that Ithaca is able to pick up game number 1. So hopefully we will be able to get in for champion select now. But while we are waiting for that, yeah, UAlbany, I like the idea in draft, had some good engage options and some great follow up to Leah and Aatrox, two champions that are really good at following up on either the Wukong or the Ashe engage. But yeah, those neutral fights just put UAlbany so far behind in terms of gold. And the miscommunication, it seemed like, around like when they were going to peel off, when they were going to be focusing the objective, just gave Ithaca so much free reign in terms of engaging those fights on their terms. And yeah, Ithaca, didn't necessarily have a huge amount of hard CC to engage, but when you have a super fed Mbessa like that, um, the Caitlyn that was able to just skyrocket into three items as fast as she did, and then the Swain who was just able to farm so many crows in that laning stage. That just means that they are able to just kind of run at UAlbany, especially with those neutral fights where UAlbany can't really afford to kite back effectively. They were just able to overwhelm them there. So yeah, once we get into game number 2 champion select, I will be back. It's going to be interesting to see what UAlbany decide to do in draft. Luckily, this is Fearless Draft, if I'm not mistaken. So these that Mbessa gone, that Caitlyn Karma really oppressive bot lane gone. So hopefully that will mean that there will be a little bit more breathing room for the UAlbany in game number 2. But as soon as that starts, I will be back. Alrighty, and here we are into the pick and ban for game number 2. Did miss a lot of it, unfortunately, but you know, we can still break down a little bit of what is going on. Looks like UAlbany is going for a bit more of an aggressive dive-centered bot lane here. Kaisa able to follow up even more so on any sort of engage with her ultimate. But in return, there's going to be a bunch of beefy boys on the side of Ithaca. Galio, Nautilus, Olaf, and Vi going to be holding down that front line while the Senna is just going to be laying down damage from afar. So, there's going to be a story of when is Kaisa going to feel comfortable going in, because if you go in too early, there's going to be just so much CC waiting for you from this side of Ithaca. So we should be loading into game any moment now. And there will be a 3-minute spectator delay that we do have to suffer, unfortunately, but so it goes with these collegiate tournaments. Gotta make sure that there's that, that integrity, making sure no one can get any sort of undue information. And here we go. The picks are going to be locked in. Playing on a couple more faces. There we go. Now, Vel'Koz mid is interesting, Most of the time, I've seen him mostly played in support recently, though I do have one of my friends that does swear up and down on the viability of Vel'Koz mid, so it's going to be interesting to see how he deals into this Galio. He's going to have the range matchup secured for sure, but Galio usually just looking to kind of get his Q and his empowered auto onto that backline, push that wave in as much as he can. We'll have to see how much damage Vel'Koz is going to be able to lay onto him in response to that strategy. Olaf, sneaky top laner Olaf, really good at those early duels, as the lower he gets, the faster he hits you, so he's kind of like Warwick in that sense, where like those early duels can be so swingy if he does not die fast enough. So we'll have to see how UAlbany handle these lead assignments. Senna Nautilus does have some good ability to trade. Senna does a lot of damage, able to poke through the mini wave with that Q, get those souls secured. You have to imagine that Nautilus is going to probably be picking up the farm so that Senna can get as many souls as possible. But Kaisa Braum, you would hope would be able to, comfortably scale into the team fights afterward. Yeah, there we see that spectator delay starting, so as soon as we get into game, I will be back with the commentary. Alright, and here we are loading on to Summoner's Rift. Gonna be do or die for UAlbany right now. Need to claw back, reset the mental after that first game. Alright, and it looks like both teams just kind of spreading out into your classic, default positions at the start of the game, trying to see if maybe they can scout out some enemy positions. Usually you see blue side trying to go for a late ward onto the red side of Raptors. Looks like Vel'Koz might be positioned to try and do the same. Right, do see a trade of wards already into the bot lane brush, so that's going to be big. But Braum does just take that time to go back and immediately swap to the sweeper. So he will be recharging that right there, trying to battle for that vision control. Yeah, Udyr, definitely one of those junglers where, especially early on, he really needs to make sure that he is not walking over vision if he wants to get any sort of action going, especially into this Senna not lane, because they can just run away at the drop of a hat. Nautilus hooks onto the wall, Senna pops her E and just right-clicks into her tower, and she's usually good to go. And we do see Vel'Koz immediately starting to get some early trades going. That's a third of Galio's HP to start, or gone before the minions even get there. And before Galio levels his W here, he is going to be pretty susceptible to this early poke. So we'll have to see how he handles it. Olaf really just abusing the low cooldown on that Q, and here comes the value from the passive. Yone just forced to triple Q away, as he knew he was not going to be long for this world if he continued that trade. Olaf, one of those champions that you really do not want to fight level 1 if you can help it, because that passive just puts in so much work, gets so much value as you both continue to get lower and lower there. And then with the cooldown reduction from picking up your Q, just so many more spells. Not going to be Spider-Manning onto the wall there, does miss the Q. That's going to mean that Senna is going to be forced to pop barrier. Does hold on to the flash. Nautilus does heal her as well. Big damage coming out of the UAlbany bot lane, though. As you saw, as soon as UAlbany hit that level 2, they immediately just go beelining for the Senna. Definitely the less mobile of the two and the squishier target. So if you can get that Braum passive stacking up onto the side, as she really just has nothing that you can do. Another good Winter's Bite does force the Nautilus to flash. Yeah, and there's a huge trade. Ooh, aggressive flash onto the Nautilus. That is going to be a Winter's Bite. He does not have any more summoners, and that is going to be first blood going in the way of UAlbany. There we go. Good. That's great for the mental bounce back. We even see that Declugs in the mid lane has been able to bully the Galio into taking an early back. Opts to not use his teleport, though. So he might maybe miss a few minions here, but he was pretty even on CS before he backed, so he shouldn't be hurting too much after that. Yeah, and Senna just so out of mana, forced to use those Qs just to try and sustain as much as she can from this relentless damage coming from the Braum Kai'Sa. That's one of those things, is that both Braum and Kai'Sa do obviously have those stacking passives, and if those can line up, they just deal so much burst damage. So it's going to be really hard for Ithaca in the early game here. Oh, and Udyr going to find the Vi. Stunned her out of the Vault Breaker, so that means that she has absolutely nowhere she can go, and that's going to be a second kill unanswered for UAlbany. We did see Nautilus try and room up there to see if he can help, but there was already too little too late there. As soon as Vi lost the ability to get over a wall with her Q, there was really no hope for her in that exchange. And these top laners, as you'd expect from this top lane, just constantly trading blows. Oh, Olaf is going to flash forward, and he's going to eat the tower shot, so it's going to be a trade in the end. Well played out of Yone there. It looked like Olaf was just going to be able to flash E auto him for the kill, but he was able to get that third Q knockup with the Olaf under tower. So much extra damage coming out of that tower right there in the early game. Doesn't mean that it will be a trade. And because Olaf does not have that teleport, he's actually going to be down in experience and minions after this, you'd think. Or at least in experience. He already has a massive CS lead because he has so much early strength. So it's going to be good for Yone to just kind of, get that gold, get those minions where he can. Try and stabilize this lane as much as possible. Yeah, and Olaf just immediately, as soon as the One pops that E, just starts running towards the clone. He immediately chunks him out. Looks like he's going to try and land the last axe. Oh, the W shield does last long enough, so he's not going to go down there. But he's going to have to make a tough decision here. The wave is pushing into him, but you don't really want to stay at that low HP, as it's just really, an E or even just a Q from the Olaf is going to be your death sentence. So he's going to be forced to back and lose even more farm. But we did see because of that traded kills, it is again 3 kills for UAlbany, so they do get that initial progress towards the boots upgrade. Nautilus does walk into an Udyr here, but he's just going to be able to hook to the wall. Should be fine here. He does eat the Brimstone, actually. Gonna force the Galio wall. So as long as they can get out here, big heal onto the Braum. Nautilus still really low, gonna go down. It's gonna be a trade onto the Braum though, and now Kaisa is kind of behind enemy alliance, forced to flash. Vel'Koz TP's in here, but it's all before that TP upgrade. So it's gonna be so difficult. Yeah, that turtle TP does mean that he is gonna be there late. So we'll have to see what they can do after this tech pause. Looks like UAlbany's AD carry is having some connection issues, so hopefully we can get those sorted out quickly and get back into the game. Yeah, but once again, it looks like UAlbany, has some good early gold onto their bot lane, but the top lane is just struggling so much. It's difficult to fight into these more aggressive bruiser early game top laners that has been coming out from Ithaca. Big combo onto 2. The passive is on both of them. Doesn't have the vision on the Galio, so it is just going to be the 1 kill going onto the Vel'Koz. But that's going to be a good... He's going to really welcome that influx of gold when he can. Uh-oh, looks like we might be having a little bit of lag right now. Let me see if I can just potentially exit on out of the game and get back into it real quick. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Probably had something to do with the tech pause. Wow. Vel'Koz is so bloodthirsty here. Nautilus is going to land the hook, but he is only level 4, and Galio is too low to really follow up on that. So Vel's just going to be able to walk away for free, even get some damage onto this Senna. Any amount of pressure that you can put onto her is going to be really important. Just try and slow down that scaling as much as you can. We do see the Senna is the one farming, so she's going to get even less souls than she normally would in this, more bruisery, tanky support matchup. And you would hope that Senna would be able to get some trades onto this Braum and onto this more low-range AD carry in the Kaisa, but there's just so much threat. Right? Udyr is going to land the stun onto the Galio, but he is a pretty tanky boy with that early Bomby Cinder, so he's just going to be able to walk it off. And we do see Udyr building towards that Liandry's. It is pretty meta on Udyr now. Basically the default build is to get that early Liandry so that you can duel so much easier with your ultimate, putting out so much damage before you go into the more of the bruisery tanky playstyle. Yeah, and Yone has been forced back on such awkward goal timings that he only has brown boots and triple dagger. Not a lot of combat ability there. Vel'Koz is going to burn the ultimate to get the chunk on the Galio, but that does mean that he does eat the taunt and the Galio combo. And there's the Senna ult on top of it. Going to force the flash out of the Vel'Koz. That's massive there. Vi maybe potentially going to be able to look onto this Vel'Koz now. And Galio does have really good follow-up for the Vi engage, so Declugs is going to have to be very, very cautious until his flash comes up. Do you see the Grubs going over to the side of Ithaca? Makes sense. Such a big early lead in their top lane means that it's going to be very difficult for UAlbany to fight around these top lane neutrals for the time being. But they were able to pick up the initial dragon, so that at least means that they are not going to be forced into this situation where the Herald is going to be the third neutral that they would have to fight for to prevent feet. And we do thank you for that ping, Yone. That means Ocean Dragon is going to be coming up in 3 minutes, so you expect that UAlbany will be looking to continue their aggression around this bot side. Winter's Bite going to land onto the Senna there. That does mean the Braum passive procs, but Kai'Sa ults under the tower before she gets hooked, so that's going to be a lot of damage traded back. So it's actually going to be pretty even across the health bars there. Udyr is now here, but there's going to be a Galio on top of it. And it looks like, yep, both teams are just going to have to kind of kite away. Udyr says he's not done, though. Nautilus Hook goes wide. And there's a fourth man here for both teams, it seems like. So who is going to get the first kills? Stun onto the Vi, and the Vel'Koz ult is enough. Big Winter's Bite onto the Galio will mean that the kill, Kai'Sa is able to pick up the kill. Galio does get the trade back, but Udyr is able to get the third kill for UAlbany. 3 for 1, and that's going to be huge position advantage onto this Drake. Kai'Sa is going to back, has quite a bit of gold in her pockets after that fight. So she's able to finish up the Kraken Slayer there. Big one-item power spike for her. Looks like everyone else is also just going to be coming out onto the map. No one else decided to back there, so no other item completions of note. We do have Yone, does have the TP advantage as Olaf has opted into that Ghost for that 1v1 capability. So hopefully you would expect that UAlbany would be able to secure this dragon without too much issue. Both supports passing like ships in the night as they desperately try and get any sort of vision they can in this bot lane river before the dragon spawns. Yeah, both teams really relying on getting the jump on the opposing team. Like we saw there, the Braum was able to get the first proc of his passive onto the Senna just by walking up and autoing because of that bush control in the bot lane. So these little advantages mean that you can put so much extra pressure on the enemy team. All right, we do see the bot lane starting to rotate on over to the dragon pit, clearing out the vision in this tri-bush. Senna unable to actually complete her back and get her first item purchase, so that's going to be a big advantage in the bot side there. And Udyr is forced to the play. Vi is just backing on her Gromp right now. So she's going to be there a little late. Luckily, Dragon has not yet spawned, so she does have time to get back out onto the map. And despite the advantage in this bot lane, UAlbany hasn't been able to really put any damage onto the opposing towers. So still 5 plates to claim with 2 items left. There's actually only been, it looks like, 1 plate claimed across either team in that top lane there. UAlbany immediately starting up that dragon. Vi is in the air looking for the Q in, but immediately stopped by the Braum. That was a beautiful glacial fissure. But unfortunately, Vi was close enough to get the smite. It does cost her her life, but that is going to stop the early dragon stacking. So good play out of UAlbany's support, but just unfortunately unable to completely zone the Vi out of that dragon pit there. Does win the 50-50. First item complete for so many people. Leandries for both the Vel'Koz and the Udyr here going to be doing a lot more damage. Galio has his first major MR item built as well, so he's going to be looking to maybe trade in a little bit more aggressively, able to take a little bit more of that punishment. There's really not much you can do against this Vel'Koz, just able to sling spells from so far away. Once again, Braum is going to try and get the initial auto onto this Senna without using the Q. She is able to walk away with that movement speed from her E, and now Vi is here, so it's UAlbany that kind of has to turn tail and run, but Nautilus has already used all of his CC to peel, and Vel'Koz caught out there trying to rotate to help, is just going to eat both the Vi ult and the Galio taunt, and that is going to be a huge shutdown going over to the way of this Vi. Looked like it was around 600 or so gold in the pockets of this jungler. Gonna be big for making it so that she can catch back coming up. Olaf is gonna be forced to pop the ulti from the Yone there. Just looking to turn back onto the Udyr. Unfortunately, Yone E wasn't able to last long enough. So Udyr forced to flash away. No kill going over to UAlbany. But that is good pressure on this top side. Oh, Udyr caught on the lazy back, and that's another kill going over the way of Vi. She is just back in this game so easily. Galio on top of it. It doesn't even look like Olaf needs the help, but he is gladly going to be here for that kill participation. Oh, Olaf completely forgot where the Yone shadow was. So trying to kite back so he wasn't going to give over that trade kill. But unfortunately, Yone was able to port back and get that auto W off before he inevitably goes down. Ooh, good hook onto this Nautilus. Galio is slowed up though, so not going to be able to get the taunt. Doesn't land the E though. But Braum is here for the peel. Braum and Udyr just too threatening. So Ithaca is going to be forced back. Udyr says that he still wants a piece of it though. Potentially even looking to tower dive, but he sees the Senna there. Thinks the better of it. And Rift Herald has spawned, so it looks like both teams going to try and fight around this. This would be the first progress towards feet for Ithaca if they can claim it. UAlbany positioning like they want to contest, but it's going to be really difficult. Vi ult coming off cooldown any second now. Nautilus does have his ult as well. So yeah, Albany is just going to be forced to cede the objective. Another Herald for Ithaca, and that Herald makes taking that first tower also so much more feasible. So UAlbany going to have to be very vigilant with making sure their lanes are adequately defended so they do not give up the boot upgrade this game. And we do see Yone getting good damage onto the Galio. Unfortunately, does eat a tower shot. He has completed his Bork, so that's a little bit of a power spike right there. And Yone is one of those champions that, he will become a threat eventually. He does have that kind of inevitability in his kit because he's just so stat efficient with that double crit passive. So you should see him starting to build towards his first crit item now that he has finished the Bork here. But he's still going to be a little bit weaker for the time being. Yeah, and unfortunately, after that really dominant bot lane laning phase, it seems like this UAlbany squad has not been able to leverage any of it. Ooh, okay, Vel'Koz's fancy feet does kind of break the ankles of Ithaca there. It looked like it was going to be an easy dive, but that flash Strikebreaker just completely whiffed, so the Vel'Koz is able to survive with a sliver of health. Vi is going to commit the Herald here, looking for the tower and the kill. She's just going to go unstoppable force onto the Vel'Koz, gets the kill, and it is going to be first tower for Ithaca here. So it's going to be, once again, boot upgrades for the Ithaca squad. UAlbany does take the chance to get this Mountain Drake for free. Well, I shouldn't say for free. They did lose quite a bit for it, but uncontested at least. So it does mean that they will be getting those resistances stacking. Mountain Drake can be pretty annoying, especially because, right now it seems like Ithaca has a lot of damage, but as we go further and further into the game, the main damage sources is really just going to be this Senna. Both Vi and Olaf are going to have to put themselves in pretty perilous situations if they want to get any sort of damage onto the backline in the late game. So if they can keep this pace going, they should be okay for now, but UAlbany definitely, is going to be looking a little bit safer in their team fighting. That's going to be Ragnarok popped, and there's just absolutely nothing Vel'Koz can do. There's another way you can knock him up. The Qs land, the Stridebreaker lands, and now Yone is here. It might just be an easy 2 for 0, as it's still, that TP was just a little late. Udyr going to desperately try and trade him back, but now Senna is here. Hopefully he will be able to get out, as that is 3 men for Ithaca rotating to help the Olaf. This top lane Olaf is just so strong right now. 2.5 items. That Stridebreaker completed, making it so it's so difficult for this UAlbany squad to kite him out once they get on top of him. Yeah, Udyr and Braum just desperately trying to clear the wave, save this inner top lane tower. Ilka is going to TP bot so that he can defend the bot lane. And it seems like despite the double global TP from UAlbany, they're just really forced to use these huge summoner spell cooldowns for reactionary plays. Haven't really been able to get any sort of proactive TP plays cross map, as Ithaca is kind of pulling them apart at the seams. Galio has quietly gotten 3 kills, so he's also really strong right now, building towards his one and only damage item, taking a quick pit stop for that Thorn Mail, as there's quite a lot of lifesteal coming from the Udyr and the Yone now, but it is auto attack based, so that Thorn Mail will be going to be really efficient in cutting down on that healing. Galio going to look for a taunt onto the Vel'Koz, but there is an Udyr here. But the Nautilus kind of also has the counter gank. Redemption is going to make sure that UAlbany is topped up, but there is no Vel'Koz ult to try and capitalize on these low health bars from the side of Ithaca. So they're just going to be able to clear this wave, you'd hope, or you'd think, with a minimal difficulty. Yeah, and Otacon is going to be started up immediately on spawn. Low health bars on the side of Ithaca. Galio is going to back to heal, but he does have TP, so he will be able to join this fight at full health and with an item purchase. Yeah, and that's just going to be... The Nautilus ult just forces UAlbany back. Otacon is going to reset, so he's back up to over half HP, so it's not like Ithaca is going to be able to get this for free, but... And now it's UAlbany that has the low health bar, so I don't know how they're going to be able to get in here. Nautilus hook onto the Braum, immediately forces the Glacial Fissure, but that is going to be a huge Galio ult onto 3 people. Kai'Sa forced to flash away from the taunt, does get the kill onto the Olaf, but while this is going on, you see Vi just continuously hitting the Otacon, and she will get it. It will cost 3, maybe 4 members of her team, but that is a neutral objective secured and a good permanent buff over to the side of Ithaca here. Galio is able to walk away after he flashes away from that Udyr stun. Yone looking for more. Unable to find it though. Yeah, Galio is the tankiest member of the Ithaca squad, so it's going to be difficult to dive them. But he is staying around despite the fact that this turret has absolutely no health bar. But Kai'Sa hit the Galio before the turret was fully dead, so he's able to taunt and CC the Kai'Sa up under turret to get the trade kill. Unfortunate misplay out of the UAlbany bot laner. One more auto would have killed the turret, but he was just a little too early on the aggression there. And we see Ithaca starting to go with this sort of death ball strategy, just playing around the strength of their top half of the map here. And if you can take fights on your terms as Ithaca, there actually is so much backline access with the Vial, with the Ragnarok, making it so that it's impossible to peel this Olaf. So yeah, they're just going to get this dragon, you'd think, relatively for free. Udyr is looking for it, but he's not going to be able to get into the pit. Nautilus does a good job zoning there. Kai'Sa is going to use her ult to just jump onto this Vi, and the ultimate layers are going to chunk her low, but she's able to flash over the wall, and now Olaf is on the back line. He is in Ragnarok. He is unstoppable, and he's going to get 3 kills there, make it 4 for the side of Ithaca, and no trade back. Vel'Koz forced to just walk away. Vi didn't use her ultimate, though, so she's looking for the cleanup, looking for a clean ace, trying to get as much damage out onto this Nautilus. Vel'Koz trying to get the trade kill, but unable to do it. Senna going to take the kill credit there with the, Waning Shadow, I believe is what her ultimate is called. Let's see if we can actually get a check-in on how many stacks this Senna has. Currently at 69. Nice. So not quite at the 100 souls breakpoint that she would maybe like to be, but that's still a good amount of souls she's farmed, despite the fact that she has been getting the last hits in on these minions, so she's not been getting as many minion souls as you would think. We do see some more item completions for UAlbany, so hopefully they're going to be able to leverage some of that completed item gold into a fight here. But yeah, it's actually pretty even in the gold, all things considered. Only about a 4,000 gold lead for Ithaca, which is not saying much. 24 minutes into the game. Everyone looks to be around 2 to 2.5 items except for the supports. So it's really going to come down to execution for these team fights. You see Olaf there just waiting on the Yone shadow. Immediately pops the Ragnarok. Yone is able to ult away, but he is slow. Does it take another undertow? And now the Nautilus ult on top. That is going to seal his fate. You have to assume Udyr here looking to see if maybe he can get any sort of peel for his top laner, but it's not meant to be. Just walks it out after using the empowered ultimate. Yeah, and as you can see, like, once Ithaca is able to get onto one of these carries, it is just so difficult for UAlbany to run away, and it's going to be an immediate Baron start from the side of Ithaca. It's going to be 4 versus 5, actually 3 versus 5, as Vel'Koz is not even TPing. It looks like UAlbany has just decided to completely give this up, opting that they can hopefully wave clear effectively. There's still quite a bit of standing gold in the bot lane. Both outer and inner tower are still up, and the inner tower in top lane is low, so Ithaca looking to pick up as much of this standing gold as they can before they start sieging these inhibitor towers. And Vel unable to get that inner bot lane tower in trade for the Baron, so it's going to be really rough going forward. That gold lead has suddenly ballooned to almost 6,000 just from the last few minutes alone, and you have to assume it's going to get even bigger as Ithaca is going to be utilizing this Baron for the next few minutes. Udyr runs forward, doesn't actually want to engage onto that Galio as he is the tankiest member from the Ithaca squad, and he does have people behind him to follow up on any sort of taunt. Udyr, unfortunately, has only completed that dead man's plate, so still not the tankiest Udyr in the world. Hasn't really been able to get much done. Oh my goodness, and Olaf is just going to try and run down the Vel'Koz, but the last tick of the ultimate is enough to seal his fate. And you have to imagine that the UAlbany mid laner was really clenching a little bit after that one. This Olaf is so terrifying with that 2-item power spike in the Ragnarok. But good job from the UAlbany mid laner, trusting that he had the damage to seal the kill before he died in turn. Yone gonna ult on over the wall, but there is a Senna there. And a Galio taunting it up, and that's 3 members. Easy pickup for the side of Ithaca. The redemption unable to save UAlbany's top laner. But so far, only able to limit it to just the single outer bot lane tower take, as the Baron is winding down now. Next dragon should be spawning in just a few minutes, so you'd assume both teams could be looking to try and get that. It will be soul point for either team if they were to get this next Mountain Dragon. And Mountain Dragon is going to go a long way for both sides, as this is such a brawly comp, such a brawly game. Any amount of survivability you can get will be huge, just getting out that little bit of extra damage onto the enemy team. Ithaca will be the first to make the move, starting up the dragon instantly on spawn. UAlbany is here, but the dragon is already so low, Udyr's unable to even get into the pit, so it's going to be maybe they can get some kills in the fight afterward. Ithaca is just desperately trying to kite away. Galio flashes over the wall, and it's going to be a clean escape from the side of Ithaca. So dragon just for Galio flash, and just for a few flashes and a heal out of the Nautilus. You take that trade any day of the week from Ithaca. Yeah, it's going to be really difficult for UAlbany. They really just need to, start making some more decisive macro moves, trying to get any sort of advantage that they can. They have hit some item breakpoints, so it's not like they don't do any damage or anything. Just seems like right now they've been taking a lot of fights on Ithaca's terms, but there is the engage onto the Galio. There are 4 people here. Is he going to go down? He does go down eventually. And now it's the Vi who is kind of stranded after trying to peer for this Galio. She is going to be able to queue away. Olaf onto the back line. Kaisa knocked up, unable to flash away in time. So that's going to be 2 kills, 3 kills for the side of Ithaca. They are able to trade back the jungler, but it's going to be a 3 for 2, 4 for 2, sorry, in favor of Ithaca. And it just seems wherever this Olaf goes, UAlbany is unable to take the fight. As he's now finished his Sterix gauge, 3 items onto this Olaf. He is an absolute monster. So yeah, you just kind of have to keep trying to make those decisive engage onto that Galio. That was really nicely played there, but just unfortunately he was tanky enough to allow Ithaca time to rotate and get those trades. So if you can maybe engage onto a slightly squishier target or just bring a little bit more damage to bear on the initial Galio pick, not even give Olaf time to back and rotate to these fights. Really just try and pull Ithaca apart there and avoid this scary Olaf as much as you can. But it's going to be so difficult. You see how much vision is in the top side jungle of UAlbany, just completely lit up blue. They will be able to push in as a unit and clear a little bit of it out, but not able to get all of it. Still vision on the Raptors and on that Krug camp, so Ithaca does have basically full knowledge of where UAlbany is when they're taking these topside camps. Next objective to spawn should be the Baron in just a few minutes. That would be the second Baron for Ithaca if they are able to get it. They have shown that they are willing to start up these neutrals as soon as they spawn. Will they do it again here? Just another quick check-in on the Senna, see how many souls she has. Almost at that 100 soul break point. That's going to be a huge power spike for her, getting so much range, so much free crit. She does have the rapid fire cannon, so she is able to kind of poke from afar. Stay safe here, allow these more bruisery melee units from her team to just act as her front line. So we see a trade of cooldowns coming from both sides. No one able to get a decisive engage around this Baron spawn. Kaisa just desperately trying to get as many of those Void Seekers to connect. She does have the AP threshold for the upgrade, so these Void Seekers will be chunking low health targets. Big Yoneo onto 3, immediately layered onto the Vel'Koz, but the Sterich Gauge just is so makes the front the Olaf so tanky, and the Galio shield on top of it. No kills go over to the side of UAlbany, and it looks like it's going to be 3 kills for the side of Ithaca, and you have to imagine that is the second Baron of the game going over to them as well. Galio and Olaf going to pick up the late kill on this Vel'Koz, who desperately just Zhonya's tries to flash away, but he is not long for this world. So just a lowly Braum will be the only member of UAlbany standing. Just kind of has to bag, nothing he can do, as this big worm slowly, ever so slowly gets burnt down. Yeah, without Olaf there, they do not have the greatest neutral take. But, you know, when 4 people are dead on the enemy team, it doesn't really matter how slow you take the objective. It just matters if the health bar is going down. You see Braum desperately trying to get any sort of vision into this bot lane river for this decisive dragon fight. If Ithaca is able to get this, it will be Dragon Soul for them. Oh, unfortunately, he was trying to set up a little cheeky play, but he was on a ward. That's going to be Braum going down right as the Mountain Dragon spawns, and I don't think UAlbany is going to be able to contest this whatsoever. So not only will Ithaca have the Baron, they are also going to have the Mountain Soul on top of it. Going to make it even that much harder for these decisive engages to actually amount in a kill for UAlbany. And we even see the Guardian Angel on the Olaf. He recognizes that he is so strong right now. As long as he has that second health bar, he's going to be able to just dive in with reckless abandon, as any Olaf wants to do. First inhibitor going down. They might just look to end right here. Vel'Koz in an awkward spot. Gonna eat the Nautilus engage, and he's just immediately popped. UAlbany does try and go forward to protect their mid laner, but that just means there are more kills for the side of Ithaca. 2 go down. It's gonna be a third, and that is going to be the game you have to imagine for Ithaca. Clean 2-0, and it just seems like UAlbany able to get some early leads, but unable to convert in the mid game there. Unfortunate. So that is going to be the 2-0 victory for the side of Ithaca. Unfortunately, UAlbany was unable to bring it home. Hopefully in a couple weeks they maybe fare a little bit better. But for now, that is going to be the end of our stream here. Thank you for tuning in. I am sorry for the technical difficulties at the start, but I'm glad that we were able to work it out and able to give you a quality stream at the end there. I have been Jeff, signing off.